All right, okay, we're back. It's about 7:32. Again, still on Monday. At this part of the committee meeting, we would like to invite our staff, so thank you very much for joining us. We have our upcoming employee handbook changes to be made, so this time of year, we ask our staff to come in and share with if they have any feedback as it relates to any considerations that you would like the administration and the board to consider as we think about our next employee handbook. So I'll just kind of open it up to the floor to our staff.
Okay, I printed off just a part of the handbook because it's huge, there's a lot of pages.
Thank you for
So
not
these
reading
are
it all.
all, yeah, no,
Thank you.
this is what I'm talking about, guys.
Okay.
So I just wanted to say, I would like to propose a change to the 403B contributions in section 11, part 2 in the employee handbook, specifically part 2, section 1.1 on page 135, which we have here.
11.1?
11.1, I'm sorry.
Okay, nope, you're
Thank you for correction. I feel that every employee holds a distinct important role in the district and that support staff should not be overlooked. Currently, teachers receive $500 deposited in their 403B account based on their full-time equivalent, or FTE, as stated in the handbook. Along with the initial deposit, there's up to a $250 match regardless of the FTE, as long as that individual has contributed up to $250 throughout the year. When the past school board made this contribution decision, they put in place a 7-year vesting schedule, which I feel would help with employee retention. If you as a school board member are able to extend this benefit to support staff, I think it would show a variety of support staff members that they are supported by the school board. That was my
Thank you.
little input on that.
Appreciate you. And this started in 16-17
This
school
started
year?
in 16-17, yep. And to Jordan's point, currently this is only in the section of part 2, which is underneath for teacher individual contracts as well. And Jordan, if I believe this, you are requesting the board to consider extending it to support staff
Support
too
staff
as well.
It's a variety of people, but
Do we roughly know how many?
I can do a costing for you.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
that was my first question as well, on input, on financially, how much would that be?
Sure.
If that, let's say everyone would do it.
Jordan, what I can tell you is the proposal for the support staff compensation, a year ago, the teachers, instructional specialists, and administration received a $1,000 retention bonus. This year, the board is, or at least is planning on, we approved coming up here in about a week or so, extending that $1,000 retention bonus to our support staff too as well. So, again, to show that gratitude
Yeah,
and
I appreciate
that thank
that.
for that retention, because we appreciate their work and continuing to come on back too as well, so.
So thank you guys for doing that, that's
Yeah, of
huge
course.
for us as an individual.
No, I appreciate you calling me out.
So, Jordan, what I'll do then is I'll get the committee some numbers about what that might look like as it
Okay.
relates to moving forward and things like that too as well, so.
Okay.
I
Thank
think
you.
that'll probably be the first part of this conversation to see what it is,
Sure.
and then the board can, the committee can bring it back or whatever we might want to do from there too. Okay? Thank you.
Yep.
I don't necessarily have any policy changes. The information that we were sent yesterday, with the question about, the sick time, so we were sent with a question, just a consideration for the district, right? Any sick time taken, should we submit a doctor's note? In talking to some other members, like of my team too, our concern is maybe if we have children and they are home with a 24-hour bug, we're not necessarily going to go to the doctor, so that's where our we don't wanna fall into that, like, hey, we're home with our kid, they're sick, they're out for, got sick at school, home for a day. Submitting sick time for that was where that was.
Yep, and my consideration that I want the board to consider is to extend it to pre-planned absences. That's really where I want to, that's where I wanted to have the
So if
conversation.
it was a dermatologist.
Dermatologist appointment,
They would made a month
surgery.
out.
Yep,
or
so for
surgery.
instance, exactly, something that you know ahead of time
Mhm.
that you're going to do, you put into ASOP about a month ahead of time. this Tuesday or this Friday in May, whatever it is, I have a doctor's appointment. Great, thank you. If you could just, you know, just like we would with the kid, produce that. I'm not asking right now. Now, in an ideal world, I'll tell you, it would be, you know, for more than one day, because right now we have to require a doctor's note for 3 or more days and things like that. But what I wanted to talk to the board about was pre-planned medical appointments,
Okay.
just so that there would be documentation for that as well.
They're like, oh no, like I was,
Yep.
okay, I will represent us,
Yep.
I will go for that, so.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, it's a good question, but it's my understanding that that is not the intention.
that's not the intention of this, no, no,
It's
no.
for dentists 6 months out,
Yep.
things like
And that
that.
makes sense, yes.
Right, because what we want to do is really work with people ideally, because what we want to do, and this was part of the intent of the paid time off opportunities that we have, is to encourage our staff to minimize the disruption to their classroom community, to either take that time outside of the school year, you know, in one of the days that we don't have, or a half day or something like that, instead of taking a full day. So that's really where we would be just looking for our staff to produce a doctor's note for a planned doctor's absence. Yeah. We don't need to, I'm not recommending going as far as every Friday you're off. You need to, I mean, that is kind of the way, just to kind of help control absences, is requiring sick time, especially, or doctor's note, particularly on Fridays
Yes.
in the springtime.
Any other questions that came up, or was that the only one?
That was the one, because we all,
Okay.
well, 3/4 of us have children, younger
Sure.
children that, you know, they get sick at school. We have one that's having a baby soon, the daycare, and, so,
Stuff happens,
yes,
right?
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm, absolutely.
Okay. All right, well, thank you
Yeah.
for coming. So, well, at this time, what I'd like to do is just kind of walk through the administrative recommendations for that. So the first part would be is just kind of do with all the policy work that the board has done, and again, Nicole, thank you very much, and Troy, you've been part of a lot of that too as well, is to really go through a dig and update our employee policies that are referenced in our employee handbook. So when we say technical changes, instead of 5,003 for personnel records, we would update it with 526 or whatever it might be, and just do some very technical changes, updating phone numbers, policy revisions, outdated language, and one of those examples would be when we ask our support staff to submit their timesheets. They talk about punch cards, you know,
Sure.
punching in, punching out. I'm like, we don't have those automated, so some very boilerplate stuff that I'd like to go in and clean up.
Mhm.
From that standpoint too. So if in fact there would ever be, obviously we have the 23-24 record of it. Again, this is just very minor edits that would be just changed up. And again, if the board wants to see all of those, I certainly can highlight those in a document. Didn't know how far you guys want me to go with that. Outside of, you know, year, we're gonna update 23-24 with 24-25, so.
No, I think as long as we're transparent in the changes
Yeah.
being made.
Yeah, so if you do a highlight.
Yeah, I'll highlight those and have that
So
on
it's
about.
transparent to
Yep.
everybody that wants to
Got
see
it,
it.
okay,
Absolutely.
thank you. Okay, so just wanted to then, part 2, provisions applicable to all employee, or part 1, section 1. We have a seasonal wage schedule that we try, it moves all the time. So
Sure.
just to get rid of that, ultimately, we continue to try to be as competitive as possible. We bring that forward to the board. Again, just getting rid of that wage schedule there would be, and that's just for seasonal. Seasonal is high school kids.
Sure.
Which continues to change there too, so.
And would that affect you at all?
No, No. It's true, the only seasonal employees we have would be our high school students.
Okay.
Yeah,
Summer
help,
early
yeah,
morning snow.
early morning snow, whoever it might be, yeah.
I mean, it may indirectly here or there, but it's not something I would be concerned about.
Okay.
In section 1 premium contributions. The benefit in the employee, change benefit will be defined in the employee benefits guide. It's very difficult because employee benefits change quite a bit as things go, and instead of making things very detailed about this is what this benefit is. So for instance, if there's ever a life insurance change, an LTD change, or whatever, anything that doesn't affect premium contributions, because obviously that would go towards the board and things like that, you know, whether it be the percentage or whatever it is. It just basically would allow us not to make employee handbook changes. It's just when benefits change, it gets updated in the employee benefits guide, which then gets emailed to all of our staff, so.
Okay.
uh,
Any concerns there, guys?
I don't think so at all, no, that makes
Okay.
perfect sense. They change all the time, so just updating them and throwing it out there.
Okay.
Section 9.6 is something that was addressed earlier, and again, just wanted to, because right now, the administration's ability is to, Jordan, can you give me a doctor's note? Well, why are you asking me that and not, other staff members? So sometimes it may seem very targeted at times. So this is where just asking for a doctor's note we would like to some changes around, if it's pre-planned,
Mm-hmm.
can you please supply us with a doctor's note, date and time that you're doing that?
Mm-hmm.
So these are for, as Courtney was mentioning, this would be for pre-planned appointments. And which happens a lot, we want that, we love the idea that you're going to have a doctor's appointment a month from now and letting us know so we can find that. We're just asking for some documentation for that. So I would craft some language around that as it relates to that doctor's certificate.
Okay.
Just make sure pre-planned is in there.
Pre-planned is in there,
That's the
pre-planned,
biggest
correct, yep, yep,
confusion with-
Yes, yeah,
With
that's the
everybody
biggest
else.
confusion, yes, 100%.
yep, pre-planned, yeah.
That'll help the front office out as well, because then that scheduling wise, absences and substitutes.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
So they're gonna bring a note after?
it would be after, correct, yeah, it'd be
Oh.
after, yep, it has to be after the fact.
So they
It
can
has to be
actually
after the
get it.
fact, so they actually go there, yep, correct.
Yeah, so make sure that's.
Mm-hmm, yeah, that would be something that would be produced after the date of appointment. Thank you, Troy.
Yeah, cause you can get a appointment.
I was gonna say, it should be
And then if you-
dated after.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
and then if you don't go, you
Yeah.
Correct.
cancel it and you don't go.
Yep, yep, good catch there, okay. Then the other piece is just, this is more of an update to what we currently do, because I wanted to add our technology platform for our teacher substitutes.
Mm-hmm.
So just wanted to add in, truly, it is the responsibility of the teacher to, the new part would be request the absence to the supervisor, and then place the absence into the district's technology substitute coordinator platform. If this absence is not pre-approved due to the timing of the absence, emergency, family illness, etc., then you call the designated substitute coordinator. That is our current practice. So you have a doctor's appointment. You ask for approval from your supervisor. The supervisor says yes, then they put it into ASOP, which is our technology platform, and then ultimately it goes out to our substitute teachers, where they then grab it.
Mm-hmm.
If there's an emergency situation that comes up, like this morning, I'm sure Peggy got, maybe a text or a phone call that says, hey, I'm really sorry, I woke up not feeling ill. Obviously, that's not time to get pre-approval.
Right.
That then you just would contact our substitute coordinator, and then we go from there. So this policy, or this language change would be our current practice. And just kind of updating that.
Sure. Any
That's it.
concerns, any questions on that?
Courtney, does that make sense? That's pretty much what you guys follow?
Yes,
Yep.
that's what we
Okay.
do.
Sorry, you're here, so we get to put you
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
spot.
Yes,
Thank
that's
you,
what we do.
thank you
is
for
that's-
affirming, yes, so thank you for affirming.
Well-represented, yes.
So, this other part, so number 4, part 3 here is something we do have in our handbook, talking about proper uniforms, footwear, and things like that. This language would be pretty much what we currently do, and I just wanted to make it stated. So, our year-round custodians, again, for instance, in maintenance, Jordan, Kirk, Mike, Jody, I think we have 4 of them, 5, Anthony. We have 5 of them. Again, in the past, we've submitted a $75, we kind of say, hey, up to $75 pre-approval, again, for proper footwear, anti-slip, again, just to kind of prevent the slips and falls and things like
Mhm.
that. So, would like to formalize that for our year-round custodial staff and bump that to $100. Why $100? Well, a good pair of shoes these days is,
My
first of all,
boots these are 160,
yeah,
I was just gonna
Timberland
ask you,
boots.
I mean, does $100 even cover, I mean, I'm thinking that's a little light.
I think it's awesome to have that benefit to
But I
begin
think,
with,
I
so
mean, I
I
think
think
I think it's a little light.
depending on, if there's a certain required footwear,
Is it
There
steel
could be a
toe?
specific, yeah, but if
or-
it's whatever the employee purchases, you know, I don't know how to explain that.
What we
but-
do is for instance, Jordan would say, hey Ron, this is, you know, I'd like reimbursement ahead, or I'm gonna be buying these shoes, is this something that the district would reimburse? If it's a pair of Nikes, no.
Mhm.
And for Jordan, he has different requirements than what Mr. Kirk would have.
Sure.
So, Troy, I understand what you're saying. We could bump that up to $200. $200 would allow basically 2 pairs of shoes. And again, Jordan obviously has, you know, would allow one. Jordan, how many pairs of
These
shoes
will
do you
go
go through?
a year,
A
one
year?
year. Usually they last a whole year, the good pairs, usually they're 160. I mean, I appreciate the thought and financial, you know, more money, but I feel like, honestly, the $100 I feel would be appropriate. In my own opinion, honestly.
Staff
It's enough to
will
cover most of it.
receive up to 150?
Well, I mean, is it up to your, would it be up to your, if we have it up
Bless
to,
you.
if we do up to 150, would it be up to your discretion?
Correct.
As
So-
far as like, yeah, like Kirk can't come buying
In
3 pairs of
crowds.
Nikes, you know.
I get my Air
3 pairs of
Jordans, right,
shoes, or,
correct,
you know,
yeah.
go through 3
Yeah.
pairs of shoes.
But for,
But he probably
the average is-
doesn't, they wouldn't need the same quality or, not, quality is the wrong word,
It's a different-
Steel toe, yeah.
toes compared to-
what,
So just to put in perspective, like I just said, I mean, these are $160 and they last 1 year. That's what I spend on it. That's what I spend, I'm just.
what I
as
would
an
say is
example.
our other custodians, because Jordan's in our
Same.
maintenance crew, it's about $75 to $80. Sometimes depending on, you know, some people will bring me, because they know it's a $75 allotment, they'll
Yeah.
bring me a $74.99 or a $60 or
Okay.
whatever it is, or some maybe just $80. So, again, that's where I've seen $100 kind of covers a good
Okay.
majority of what it is. Or
so
if we went up
rather
to-
than staff will receive a $100 reimbursement once a year, so that to me makes it sound like you are getting $100.
Up to.
Yeah, I think you need to add up to.
Okay,
Yeah, the
yeah, up
150 is
to,
awesome. That'd
And
cover pretty much
That's what I
almost the whole cost.
I,
Let's go
I
off the
would
base.
have no problem
Mhm.
with 150.
So
Okay.
up to.
up to.
And that's for one pair?
What I'm gonna say is, what's changed, because for,
Yeah.
we'll receive up to $150 reimbursement for footwear.
Footwear.
So, Mr. Kirk may go through, he's walking a lot,
Sure.
let's just use Mr. Kirk. He may go through 2 pairs of shoes. So,
Exactly.
that means he could, you know, has a $150 allotment to cover, you know, maybe 1.5 or
Yeah,
whatever
we'll
it is. So,
receive
Up
up
to.
to.
up to $150 reimbursement for footwear. Just gonna
Correct.
leave it at that.
Do we need for proper footwear?
Yeah,
Or,
For,
yeah, approved or,
Or
um,
workwear? Well, no,
necessary?
it's not workwear, it's footwear, but,
I mean, do you have to
Necessary-
follow OSHA, any OSHA footwear?
not really,
Nothing,
no,
okay.
no. I do anti-slip and,
I'm gonna say necessary footwear, I think that's a
Okay.
good, for necessary footwear, yeah, because it's not necessary for Mr. Kirk to walk around with Air Jordans,
correct.
right? That's not necessary, what's necessary is anti-slip Skechers, or whatever.
I couldn't see
Yeah,
Kirk
or
wearing
whatever
Air
work
Jordans anyway.
boots Jordan needs,
Yeah,
okay. Alright,
Thank you guys for doing that.
good recommendation.
all right, yep, thank you. And then the last recommendation we have is this past year, we ran a pilot robotics club, Mr. Wagner did, and we'd like to continue that, and we would like to assign a $600 stipend.
So my only question on that is how does that compare to other stipends and time?
Correct. So when I sat down, and again, I'd have to find the details of that, I don't have that in front of me. When I sat down with Mr. Wagner and Mr. Newcomer, and when we agreed to a stipend amount, I referenced other opportunities.
Sure.
Like Student Senate, coaching, and other co-curricular. And when I offered, when we settled in on $600, Mr. Wagner felt that was very fair for the amount of time that he was putting into that. So, again, I don't have the details about how many hours that was in front of me, but we did mutually agree that that was a very fair compensation for that club. Now, he is planning on running, that was per opportunity. Next year, he's hopeful to run 2 opportunities, so again, he would receive $600 for the first opportunity, then he would have a different team running the second time, so it'd be 2 different.
So that would
stipends.
apply to each
To
opportunity?
each opportunity,
Okay.
correct, yep.
Is there anything out of his pocket
No,
for these?
nope, Nothing's out of his pocket. We supply all the materials, we have most of the materials here already. There were some things we needed to purchase for his robotics club, which actually, we need anyway, which was nice for our summer robotics program,
Okay,
which we are starting up this year too as well. So, no, nothing out of his
As long as
pocket.
nothing's coming out of his pocket.
Nothing's
I
coming
mean,
out of his
I know
pocket.
there's a lot of teachers and stuff that they pull a lot of stuff out of their
Yeah.
pocket, and
We make sure he has what he needs for, certainly for that
we
opportunity.
just need to make sure that it's for everybody too.
if it was mutually agreed upon and it's per session.
Per session,
I'm okay with that, otherwise it, initially, first look at it, I was like, oh, that was low.
yeah,
Compared
it's,
to other ones.
compared to, it's, again, I'm thinking it's maybe a 20-hour commitment. So $20 an hour, I think we.
Competitions, other
No,
things?
not that, it's all
Okay.
on campus
Okay.
right now. So this is not the full-flown, first robotics league team, it's not,
Okay.
it's not that. This is a after-school, let's meet for an hour and have some fun. We got the Lego tables out. Dave didn't feel he could commit to a full-fledged
Okay,
competition at this time. Our goal in the future is to possibly get that rolling, and then
Sure.
ultimately, to your point, Troy, that's a lot more time, but this is very fair for what we.
okay, and that can always be revisited.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. And then the only other part that was in our co-curricular was our jazz band. Again, we can, we're gonna be running the jazz band, but we did fold that into the individual teacher contract. Again, we can keep it in the handbook if we would like to. I just don't want it to be something that where a staff member comes and says, this is, in the handbook, you owe me this. So I just wanna make sure that it's clear. And then we can say suspended for the 24-25.
So, since we're saving there, I would recommend taking that 600 to 750.
Oh, to robotics?
Yeah, because, and then if he does it twice a year, that's the 1,500, because the 1,500, it's already in the budget, correct?
I've taken it out of the budget.
Oh, you took it out.
I've taken the $1,500 out of the budget when we were planning for this.
And did you put robotics in?
Robotics is in, correct.
I still
Again, I
say
think that's
750.
That program's awesome.
Yeah.
If you've ever been in there and see the tasks the kids have to do on that Lego table
I think it's
with all the
fantastic.
different, it's,
Oh, yeah.
it's crazy, it's
That's-
awesome.
Well, I have no, yeah, I mean, I thought 600 was light too,
Yeah,
compared to, I mean, I know what other stipends are for different programs, but there's a lot more time in a lot of the other ones, I understand.
Yeah, it's,
we can revisit it if it adds up, I don't know,
I think we can revisit, again, if it's, I work with Mr. Wagner pretty closely on that,
Okay.
and, so, again, it's up to you guys. Our recommendation would be 600 just for
I
consistency.
mean, if you and Mr. Wagner agree to that,
Yeah,
he
if you
feels it's
agree.
fair,
Yeah,
I mean, he can always come.
You can always go, yep.
okay,
And then as far as the 1,500, I'd suggest taking that out, because
yeah,
since it, no, yeah, that's what he's saying, he wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure, but yeah.
We take it out.
that's why I was saying just move it up here, if
Yeah.
you're doing it twice a year, but I get it, okay.
Okay.
Well, that'd be next year, right, for twice a year?
No, it's in there, and I mean, I can.
No, you're talking about Wagner's next
For wait,
year.
I can say
Next
per
year.
class if you want,
Or per session.
Per
Per
session,
session.
there you
Yeah,
go.
there we go.
Per
yeah,
session.
Per session.
Yep, got it. Per session. All right, anything else? Okay, so future policy committee meetings. Moving forward, we have, would you like to, a couple things. One, I'm not sure, Nicole, remind me, did we bring any changes to the student handbook through policy committee?
Yes.
Yes, so we would have that in June,
Mm-hmm.
bring that forward in June or July. I'll talk to our team. Usually we did it in June.
Yeah.
So
July, yeah.
bring that in June, so that it would be a July approval for that. So we have that. Our administrative team was talking about possibly revisiting the video policy. As we've taken a look at, we do currently have a policy that was adopted 2 years ago, I do believe, in 2021, 2022, around getting prior approval for every video. The past 2 years, we've been, approving them and doing that, and we have a very large database. We've continued to update our curriculums. Since then, we've updated social studies, mathematics, literacy, and there is, again, we want to give every teacher what they really truly need.
Yeah.
The supplemental materials, we also have policy for, if a teacher wanted to bring something in, again, they know that it's their responsibility. If they have any question, they need to get supervisor or curricular approval. Just wanted to talk to the policy committee around maybe possibly taking a look at the video approval as well.
How many requests are still being received and how often?
I will give you those exact dates, exact numbers. Last time was right around 100 for Mr. Newcomer and over 250. And we're talking about very short video clips. We still would like to keep in, if you're gonna show a full-length video, you need administrative approval. If we wanna, if you need to show a video, a full hour and a half, 2 hours, we wanna know what it is and why it is. That's going, some of those have already been approved as well. But, I know, Troy, this is something that you brought up to me too as well, to say, hey, do we wanna think about this a little bit?
Yeah, because I remember the year that 2 years ago when we did it, we were gonna bring it back this year
This
for a
year.
little CI, but that hasn't happened, so that's why
Yep,
I brought it up.
and the summer would be a good time, for the next time to kind of talk a little bit about that too. We still would include the teacher has to review full video, and they are solely responsible. And then ultimately, when we talk about our staff ethics and staff discipline policies, that would all fall into play and be referenced, which it is now. But again, it might be something that from an administrative load and from a teacher load, not having to worry about it. But we still want everything to be previewed by the professional, and when in doubt, they ask. Because that is something that we don't want to put something in front of children. In particular, the biggest concern is ads.
Well, that's
As well.
my biggest
Yeah.
concern is
And we've talked.
unintentionally, somebody plays a video and then an ad comes up, especially, it's an election year,
Yep.
it's whatever, and the teacher is then in a hot spot. I always view this policy as a protection for the teachers. It's not that nobody trusts their decision-making, anything like that. To me, it is a safeguard to keep the teachers protected. It was approved by Ron. Now it's not on the teacher, it's an administration
Yep.
issue.
And I would echo that. Again, I'm in support of the policy too as well. We've
And
come,
there should be a pretty big bank now compared to 2 years ago,
And it was-
where
yeah.
Oh, it was-
everything had to
yep.
start, where now I really feel that should have slowed down a bit.
Yep.
Maybe I'm wrong.
yeah, well, there's, again, it's a lot of our early grades, 4K, 5K, and
Sure.
things like that, where they're either doing movement breaks. I mean, there's not much that's shaken out in
Yeah.
fourth grade that hasn't already been pre-approved, whether it's a science or social studies video. And again, a lot of this stuff also gets cleaned up through curricular adoptions. And that's really, we feel like we're in a really much better spot, Troy, to your point, a much better spot, Nicole, like you mentioned. We've got a data bank to say, hey, and when in doubt, you can still submit it. Let us review it. And some people, to your point, Nicole, if I were a teacher, just because I don't have to, doesn't mean I'm not going to.
Right.
To put those fences involved too as well. So I'll bring back some, a recommendation there too as well, just kind of rework, and I'll
Sure.
continue to work with our administrative team on that as well.
And that's something I'd love to hear from the
Teachers.
teachers.
Teachers, okay.
Yeah.
With an email, or a meeting.
Sure.
And it doesn't have to be here, they can contact us, and I'd be happy to meet with any teacher
Sure,
to figure
sure.
out that.
Okay.
And then didn't we speak with Vinnie as far as trying to block commercials?
Yeah,
Kinda-
let me see where we're at with that,
Yeah,
as
I remember
it relates to
that
that.
was a year and a half
With
ago.
the YouTube.
The YouTube and stuff
yeah.
like that, where
Mhm.
that was like, when I was on policy, before I got grounded.
Advertisements for YouTube. Yep.
That's a hard thing to answer. You just don't know what's gonna pop up.
Nothing's free.
But something might have, within a year and
Exactly.
a half, come up.
Yep, yeah, I'll talk to him about that and maybe he can be part of that
Again, you just don't
conversation.
want little Johnny going home and, a teacher couldn't hit pause because Sally's in the corner
Yep,
and.
yeah, yeah, a lot of things happen there.
Exactly.
And particularly, as you highlighted, election year. And when we were talking about this as an administrative team, again, Maria's exact words is, nothing's free.
Is there,
Right.
Free to us.
would there be a way to purchase an account that shows videos to where you get rid of that?
Well, and that's
Yeah.
where we had that discussion, and thank you for bringing it back up, a year and a half or 2 years ago when this policy was implemented.
Yeah,
I know we're
So-
starting to look into it, and then,
correct, I think.
But
there
then
was
everybody
some-
gets the
like-
sign-in information, and then how are they, how do you do that? How do you keep it in the school?
That's a
That
Jim
sign-in
question.
stuff, and you know what I mean, like,
Yeah, it's,
that could, I could see that being a
yeah,
problem.
we'll bring it
Okay.
full circle with that.
That's
too.
a tough one.
Anything else you'd like to, anything, I think those are some two things. I'll take a look at the 700s, because that's our next. And again, that doesn't involve staff or anything, that's more community relations and things like that. So I'll probably start working on 700s and bringing that forward too, so we can maybe lighten the load up a little bit during the school year for myself.
if we can bang them out.
I'd love to do that too as well, so, so let me take a look at that.
Are we putting a date?
Do we want to put a date on the calendar? We do have, our scheduled board meeting is the 17th
June?
of June, so,
We do that.
the last week of school is crazy. What about June 10th, the week of June 10th?
I'm good.
The only day I would like to stay away from would be Monday, the 10th,
I'm good with that.
because that's the first day of summer school.
And it can be a little later meeting,
Yeah, that's good.
what,
8:30. If we're doing it on Monday, 8:30, like an 8:30.
I would prefer not the 10th, if we can, if we can avoid, that's the first day of summer school, and just want to help
Oh,
out.
June 10th.
Yeah,
you wanna do the 12th,
That's also fine, like 8:30.
8:30?
8:30?
Well, is that when summer school's starting?
No, it starts at 8. So
Oh,
we're fine.
okay.
Yep, and we'll meet here again then. Summer school's at the intermediate school, so we'll let
School meeting.
crazy happen. I'll send you guys,
Okay.
The
Anybody?
or whatever
12th,
you,
8:30,
yep,
got it.
got it, okay.
So that'll be 700s.
Hopefully
And
700s,
then video
the
policy.
video policy.
And,
And then the other piece that may be coming, which I'm hopeful, good thing you brought that up, is the anti-harassment and bullying policy,
Okay.
as well as Title IX changes.
Mhm.
So, I don't know if you've heard, but the federal government has changed their Title IX policies that we did significant work on in 2020, 2021, so they have changed that. It will require a policy change for us. You just had a seminar on it yesterday. It will be more of a heavy lift this year on our administrative team over the summer, as well as our staff too, because now they're extending it down to training our staff as well. That will have to go in June because it has to be approved by August 1st.
Okay.
So,
is
yeah.
it just verbiage, a lot of verbiage I heard, or?
a lot of verbiage,
Yeah.
it includes, it details out definitions a
Yeah,
little
that's
bit more
what-
about who is covered by this. Again, Title IX is all based around sexual identity, something related to the sex of the individual.
Do we need to meet again then this month to get it in front of the board in June for a first read, for a second read in
July.
July?
So that's why if we do it in June, if we do it on June 12th, we have plenty of time.
So the
First
June
read.
meeting next, the following week.
Okay.
Yep,
And
and
then
then in
do
July.
it in July.
Prove it in July.
Okay,
At the same time, so the federal government and WASB, Neola, and the legal teams are all creating new policies. So again, it's gonna be boilerplate update for us, we can't change that.
right,
This
we
is what it
have
is.
to follow.
And
Okay.
then the corresponding move would be then there is new policy out for non-sexual harassment and bullying and things like that, which we've talked about before,
Yep.
we've been pausing. We had something ready to go in March.
Mhm.
WASB said hit the pause button because we have these new federal regulations coming, so we'll be getting that too.
Okay,
That we at least have a little bit of time if we don't, WASB doesn't get to that in time, because that just needs to be ready to go before school starts.
okay.
So we have quite a
For
bit to do.
student handbook.
For student handbook, well, that'd be for a policy change, actually. We'll put it in policy compared to, then we can always update our student handbooks to include that.
Okay.
If we need to, so.
And then when's training for staff on that?
We're gonna have to infuse it into our orientation at the end of August. Yeah, for that. And again, I don't know what that is, they just said, you guys need to reserve some time, and everybody's like, how much time?
Right.
Because we already are planning for that, and we haven't heard. Our hope is that it's some sort of virtual training, that it's just like child abuse, child neglect, bloodborne pathogens, just to say, hey, here are the new regulations that you need to be aware of. So there's a consistent message from either DPI or the state.
Sure.
But we'll see.
Oh, good.
Okay, so that's 117, and then we got 342 and 343. Okay, that's all I got.
Thank
All right, thank you. Thank you very
both
much for coming.
joining us.
Yeah, thanks guys for considering that stuff.